Hi everybody, welcome to our Taubmans live colour advice session. My name is Fiona, I'm the Taubmans colour specialist and it's great to be here this evening to talk all things colour. So I'm going to let you know how our sessions work for those that are joining us for the very first time. So for the first half an hour I will be on screen and we'll be streaming live, and it is a fantastic opportunity for you to upload any questions that you do have, and I'll certainly do my very best to answer them for you. So after that half an hour concludes, I generally sit back behind the scenes, not in front of the camera, and continue to answer further questions. And that is a great opportunity for you if you do have any images or photos of any areas that you're liking some assistance with. It's a great opportunity for you to pop them into our feed then, because unfortunately, when we are streaming live, I'm unable to receive images. It's just something that happens within the mechanics of Facebook. So as I said, we're here for the next half an hour, and look, it's a fantastic opportunity to upload your photos, share any projects that you're wanting some help with. Certainly, if you're looking for information around our wonderful portfolio of products that we have, which have been designed to protect and beautify your space, I can certainly help you with that. And of course, colour. Look, I can talk colour forever. So, happy to begin our evening. So I already have, so just so that you know, when we put these sessions together, we like to keep it really real. And so we look at all of our social media feeds and collate questions so that everything is relevant, and so that we're helping to help you when it comes to colour, etc. So I do already have some questions that were posted into the feed, and also to some of our frequently asked questions. We haven't been live for a little while, so there's quite a few of them that I'm going to try and get through this evening, but don't let that stop you from popping questions into our feed. So I'm going to begin. The first question that we have is from Emmy Clark. Thank you, Emmy, for joining us and popping your question into our feed. So you're asking, what's a lighter version, but the same shade, of your colour, West Ringier? So I do have the colour here, and on a very old fan deck, mind you. So for anybody that's at home and they're wondering what it looks like, let me just show you. So here is the colour here. Bear in mind that when you're looking at a screen, depending on the pixelations in your screen, the colour's not always going to look accurate, if you like. So we always recommend, when we're talking colour, and if I'm recommending any colours for you, to get yourself a sample pot, and I will talk through the best way to use that in a moment. But, another shade, Emmy, that you could look at is a colour called Stone White. So that sits directly above the colour that you're talking about. It looks like it would almost be a half strength of that colour, if not a little bit lighter. So that would certainly be a fantastic option. So as I said, the colour is called Stone White. What I will do when we finish streaming is pop it into the feed so you've got a reference for it. Thanks very much. Okay, the next question that I have is from Jackie. Thank you very much, Jackie, for joining us. And you are saying that you're considering using Pebble Bay Quarter in a small north-facing room that doesn't receive much sunlight. Will this neutral white feel warm? Yeah, so Pebble Bay is a beautiful neutral. It kind of sits within the realms of, it's a neutral going into sort of that greige. And so the best way to describe it is a greige is a sort of a grey that is more brown based. Like when you look at greys, you've got a blue based grey, you've got a red or purple based grey, you have a green based grey, which I like to refer as a neutral style grey, and then you also have what's called a greige, which is your brown based grey. Beautiful colours to work with. They're timeless. They sit extremely well with a lot of other colours as well. So I'm just going to find this colour, and I'm probably going to have to look up the reference for it. Any other time I can find it, but not tonight. So bear with me, and we'll have a look at it, and we'll just see what it's going to look like, how I think it's going to perform for you. I think you're on a winner there. Where are we? Okay, so 12. Alrighty. So Pebble Bay Quarter, yeah, it's beautiful. So that is the top colour here. Beautiful soft, as we said, grey, lovely neutral. Now what I would recommend is to ensure that that colour is going to work for you in your environment, and it's going to perform well within your space, given your lighting levels, etc. This is what I always recommend when we talk about sample pots and the importance of it. So I would get yourself a metre by a metre square piece of cardboard. Now, one of the easiest ways to acquire one of these is if you're going into Bunnings, when our paint comes into store, it comes onto large pallets, and in between each layer of paint is what we call pallet liners. And so they're just effectively large pieces of cardboard. So if you ask the Friendly Paint team, I'm sure they'd be happy to help you. Grab one of those, cut yourself a metre by a metre square. I know you're probably thinking that's large, but you really want to see how the colour plays in your environment. Now, I recommend most of our paints are a 2-coat system, but in this instance, because you're going on to bare cardboard, I would give it 3 coats. That way, that additional undercoat. So you're really going to get to see how that colour is going to perform. You want to ensure, you know, when we're testing colour that you're getting adequate coverage. So 3 coats is going to do the trick. And then once it's dry, test it in 2 areas in your space. So here's your wall, here's your floor. So sitting your sample up against the wall so that it's touching on the floor and looking at it in certain times a day, taking it around different areas with or different walls within that room. Even if you're looking at using a colour within a whole house, testing it in other rooms and areas as well. Looking at it in daylight. Daylight's when you see colour at its truest form, but also of an evening with your artificial lighting on, because you want to see how that colour is going to, you know, be affected by your lighting. Now, the other thing to consider as well is if you've got wooden floorboards, for example, the warmth from the timber can also influence your colour selection on that wall. For example, if you've got a white, you've got beautiful warm timber floorboards, that white can at certain times of day look really, really warm. And the other thing to consider as well is if you have, I use this analogy quite a lot, say you've got a red leather lounge and you're using a white and we're testing it, certain times of day that wall can potentially look pink as well. So I guess if you test it, you're really educating yourself and understanding how that colour is going to work for you. Now the second spot to test it, so again, here's your wall, this time here's your ceiling. Putting your sample against the wall, but so it's touching the ceiling, and repeating what we've just talked about. So you're looking at it in natural light, and again, you're looking at it in artificial lighting so that you can see how that colour works for you. By doing that, trialling it in various spots within your home, you can be sure that you're going to get a really good understanding of that colour. And that is my best tip for avoiding, you know, a colour conundrum, or avoiding putting colour directly on the wall and, you know, going and buying, say, your 15 litres, painting out your house and going, I don't like it, it doesn't look right. So test first, and then you can certainly paint them with confidence. I hope that helps. So I've got some questions coming through. Thank you, everybody. It'd be good if I had the right mouse. It's a real setup here, everybody. I've got computer screens, computers I'm talking about, not just one. Lots of screens, a few different mouse. It's just anyhow. Okay, I do have another question. This is from Donna. Thank you very much, Donna, for joining us. So you're saying that your 10-year-old daughter has picked the Below colour palette for her new bedroom. I can't share this with you, everybody, but we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whoa, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think we've got around about 20 plus colours there. Love it. And I think the colours, so just to describe what I'm seeing here, and you're saying, how can I achieve this? Help, please. We've got some beautiful purple lilac tones, some beautiful soft teal going into aqua, and some beautiful yellow. So some really happy, really positive, vibrant colours. The way, I mean, there's lots of ways if you're wanting to inject a lot of colour into a space. You can create feature walls by creating geometrical shapes. You can do what's called colour blocking. And by that, when you're colour blocking, you can paint. So you could pick one of those tones, the more neutral, softer style colour, and then you can paint shapes, whether it be something like arches, and you're adding the colour in different ways. I have even seen recently like a gingham style feature wall, which looked fantastic. So my advice would be maybe even paint 3 walls in individual colours, but just solid colours, and then using that myriad, so all of those different tones of the colours to create something quite dramatic on that back wall, and just having one sort of busy feature wall, if you like, with some type of pattern, whether you choose to create a gingham, whether you choose to do what's called colour blocking. You can Google it. If you Google colour blocking and have a look at the images that are associated with it, it'll give you some fantastic ideas. Or even just, I've seen as well, you know, where people just mask up and they create lines, painting colour and then putting the masking tape over the lines again, blocking more colour. It looks fantastic. So I'm happy to, at the end of this session, Donna, send you a couple of links to colour blocking and just to give you some ideas around what you can do with that colour. Please pop something else into the feed if you'd like some further advice. Very happy to help. Thanks. And what else do I have here this evening? Hi Janine, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, so you are saying that our house interior is Miss Universe quarter strength. We would like a neutral white, not warm. Have painted a few walls in cotton ball and it's throwing pink. Redid it in Snowy Mountains quarter strength and it's throwing green. No natural light. Any suggestions would be appreciated. Okay, so yes. So Miss Universe for everybody is quite a, basically, effectively, it's white with a splash of black. So it is more of a cooler style white. So given that it's a quarter strength, it would be quite a clean, bright white. So, and you're saying, sorry, I'm just reading this again, saying that you've used cotton ball and it's throwing pink. Okay, I guess wanting a neutral. How white do you want? I guess if you're going cotton ball, you're wanting it quite light. I mean, we've got a beautiful colour which is called Alpine Snow. It's a neutral, and so generally when you're looking at a neutral style white, if you like, they tend to have a slight, dare I say, a little bit of a green undertone. So you've got your warmer whites, which tend to throw more yellow. I'm just going to make it quite basic. And then you've got your cooler whites, which tend to throw more blue. And then you've got a neutral style white, which has effectively sort of, it can be a green, grey, beige sort of undertone. That's probably the easiest way for me to describe it. So, and given that you don't have any natural light, I don't want you to go, I don't want to take it too dark. Okay, I'm going to say, first of all, have a look at Crisp White. That's our number one white. Crisp White only contains one tint, which is Raw Umber. It's a beautiful white. It has a very soft glow, and I'm thinking that if you've taken Miss Universe down to a quarter strength, it's going to sit really nicely with that. So have a look, Janine, at Crisp White. Alpine Snow is beautiful as well. That would be another colour you could have a look at. I'm just mindful that you don't have a lot of natural light, so I don't want to give you something that is going to appear too dark. I don't think it will, but I would have a look at that. So, and I'm going to hold them up to the screen. It's going to be really hard to see, but if you are looking, if you've still joined us from home, you may be able to see this. So Crisp White is this colour here, and then the next one, well, the next colour to it is Alpine Snow. I would probably start with those. Let me know what you think, and then I can certainly give you some further suggestions. They do have these available on, if you were to go into Bunnings, on the colour wall via a chip. So you could sort of start there just to see first what you feel about it. Take it home, have a look at it in your lighting, and then, you know, I would then move to a sample pot, testing it, as I mentioned before, on a large piece of cardboard, so you really get a good idea about what the colour looks like, and especially given that you don't have a lot of natural light. The other thing to consider as well is the style of your lighting. So if you don't have a lot of natural light, you know, what sort of Kelvin, so what is the temperature of your lighting that you have for your artificial lighting? So, you know, if you've got LEDs, are they cool, are they warm, etc., because that can help me to then also ensure that what I'm recommending is going to work for you. So feel free to pop something else into the feed and I'll be very happy to help you. Thanks. Oh, thanks, Janine. Yeah, do that. I can see that you've said awesome, thanks. I'll grab sample pots of those. Do try it. But feel free to let me know, because I just want to make sure that I'm giving you the right whites. And feel free to let me know also, as I mentioned, around the type of lighting that you have as well. And if there's anything else in the room that I need to be aware of. So because the color of your flooring, even your window furnishings can also influence the wall color. So, you know, it could have for example, as I mentioned before, you know, a red leather lounge can tend to make your walls look pink. So I just want to make sure that I've got all the information so that I'm steering you in that right direction. Thanks. What else do we have here? Hello, That's It's Trades. How are we this evening? Nice to see that you're back. So what are you saying? We are up to painting our bathrooms. Could you please recommend a soft, light green for the space, something that creates a spa-like feel? I can do that. The trims are grey. What sort of grey are you having for your trims? So that I can ensure that the soft green that I recommend is going to pair back beautifully with your grey. So give me a little bit more information and I will help you select a fantastic green. Hi Jacinda, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And your question is, I need to lighten my space and I'm looking for a nice white to complement our pine lining cathedral ceilings, please. I'm going to tell you straight away the perfect white. If you're wanting a nice white, have a look at crisp white. As I was just saying before, it is our number one white. Look, I have never loved a white as much as I love crisp white. The fact that it, as I mentioned before, it has one tint, which is raw umber. So if you looked at raw umber in a pot, it looks like it looks like a murky brown. But what it does is when you are tinting or using it for tinting purposes, so let's just say all whites start out from a white base. So our white base is called Brilliant White. And then from that, to create the hundreds of whites that are out there, we use a formulation and we add varying tints to the white to create a color. And so some of the tints can be quite complex. Some can have a little bit of red, blue, green, etc., purple, just to create an overall effect. So crisp white, as I said, has one tint, which is called raw umber, and it creates a white that has a beautiful soft glow. And this white is very adaptable. It can be used in areas that are saturated in natural light, and again, in areas that lack light. So it performs really, really well. That would be the color I would suggest to start your white journey with. Jacinta, you can find it on most color walls, all of our color walls, and this is what it looks like here. And I would suggest, as I mentioned before, getting a sample pot of it, testing it on a large piece of card, moving it around your space to ensure that it works for you. But it is a beautiful white. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you want any further suggestions. I'll be very happy to give you some more. Thanks. Okay. So Sharisa, you're having a grey comfort for your trims. I'm taking it. Let me just see if I can find that in my fan deck. And then, yes, I can. Wonderful. That wasn't... Where are we? Okay, so grey comfort for your trims. Okie dokie. And you're wanting a beautiful, let me get it right, soft green to create that spa feel. What have we got that's going to pair back beautifully with that? Green. Okay. Well, I could there is a colour called Sprite Glade, which actually looks really lovely with the grey comfort. I don't know whether this is what you're imagining, but I can envisage it for a sort of a spa type of feel. So it's this green here, and here's your grey comfort there. If you're wanting something, I'm sort of going for that minty style green. I think that sort of alludes to a spa. Or you could go for, oh, this is quite nice too. It's called Viridian Green. It's a little bit different. It's still a green. It has a little bit more of a bluey undertone though, and here it is here. So there's your grey comfort and there's Viridian Green, and they just sing together. They look fantastic. So that would be one suggestion, or another suggestion I should say. Here we go. This is fantastic. So you've got Viridian Green, but then also a colour called Dashing Green as well. I don't know whether you can see. There is the colour here, and there's obviously grey comfort. So you can see that they work beautifully together as well. So have a look at Viridian Green and Dashing Green. Let me know if that was the direction that you're wanting to go to. Very happy to certainly recommend some more greens in case I've missed the mark, because everyone's interpretation of a spa style green is a little bit different. Very happy to suggest a few further ones, so let me know. Thanks. What else do we have here? Oh, hi, Emmy. I opened this evening with your colour query. So yes, found a colour which sits directly above Westringer. So here we go here. I'll just show you. So it's pretty much effectively a lighter version of what you're wanting. So there is your, oops, let's just make sure I get that right. There is the original colour that you had, and here is the top colour that I think would look fantastic. Now it is a colour, and it is called Stone White. So Taubmans Stone White, have a look at that. If I were to describe it, I would say it would be around about a half strength of Westringer, or potentially slightly lighter, but I think it's definitely a great starting point. Let me know if that hits the mark, if that's not enough, you know, if it's not saturated enough, etc. Let me know. Very happy to offer some further suggestions. Thanks. Hi Renee, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So you are saying hello. Could you suggest an earthy neutral colour that is not grey or white for all walls in our house plus the trims? I have a house full of mechanics and artists, and keeping on top of finger marks on my white walls is getting harder, thanks. I can. So just to ask you, so you're wanting the colour for your walls plus trim. So you're going to do the trims the same colour as well, just so that I have, you know, understood you right. Let me know. That would be fantastic. I'm thinking, so we're not wanting grey nor white. We're wanting a very soft neutral, something that's going to hide all of those dirty finger marks. So you could start with, there's questions coming through, sorry, distracted. I would start with a colour called South Pole. It is beautiful. It's a lovely, oh, it's a neutral, maybe wanting a bit more earthy. Hang on, maybe I would, well, I'd still start with South Pole. Have a look at that. It's a fantastic neutral. If you're wanting something a little bit more earthy, let's warm it up a little bit and have a look at go, depends. So something more earthy. This is quite earthy. Whether it's too, I've taken it too far. Have a look at a colour called Atwell Bluff, which is the top colour here. That's definitely well worth a look. It's a nice earthy, a soft earthy tone. It's almost, if I could say, I was going to say this almost has a slight bit of sort of a caramel undertone. So that's a beautiful tone. What else do I have that's a little bit more earthy? Without going too dark, I still want to keep it neutral for you. Here's a really lovely colour, Island Coconut. A really nice, soft, earthy neutral. And again, this place is lit up like a Christmas tree. So what you're seeing on the screen is not true. It's only indicative. It's not true to what it really looks like. So I definitely recommend getting a colour chip, you know, at minimum, and then also having a look at a sample pot. But that's certainly well worth having a look at. Or if I warm you up even more, you could, I'm just thinking, even about Pebble Bay, whether something like that may hit the mark for you. Yeah, you could do this, and you could look at Pebble Bay. So Pebble Bay, either full strength, half strength, or quarter strength, depending on the intensity that you like. So you've got the three. So that is full strength. So standard Pebble Bay, that's going into a half strength, and that's going into a quarter. So, you know, you could certainly use a quarter strength on walls, doors, trims, even right down to your half or your full, depending on what you prefer and what's going to work for you within your space. The other thing I'd recommend using is a product called Taubmans Endure. So it is a wonderful paint, and what makes it truly fantastic is it contains what we call nanoguard technology. So it contains, so when you put a standard paint under a microscope, they generally have just a one size paint particle. Now with Taubmans Endure, it has that one size paint particle, but then it also has a smaller paint particle that fills the airspace. What it does is it creates an interlocking molecular structure, which means you can scrub the paint. You can scrub the surface, you can scrub all of those grease, fingerprints, etc. off with ease, and it's not going to ruin the look of your paint. So ordinarily, when some people, you know, some paints, when you wipe over them, they become shiny. That's known to be what we call burnishing. And so because of the nanoguard technology and that molecular structure, you can scrub it. It won't burnish. It's designed to withstand that. So it is a fantastic product. I would be recommending that you have a look at that when you go to repaint. So I hope, what is the colour of the board behind me? It is a colour called Foxdale. It happens to be one of my favourites. Something like that would look fantastic as well. Let me just show you it on a colour chip or on my fan deck. Where are we? I'll just get it up for you and you can see it. It's beautiful. Where are we? 32. That is the colour here. So it's a fantastic colour. It does tend to sit, it's a neutral, but it probably sits a little bit more on the grayer side as opposed to your sort of earthy neutral style, but definitely well worth a look. I hope that helps. Let me know if you need any further suggestions. Very happy to offer some more. Thank you. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, Emmy, that's fine. Completely get it. Not a problem at all. Glad you joined us, and do have a look at that colour. I think it's going to work really, really well for you. Oh, Renee, you're very, very welcome. I hope some of those colours have helped you. There's a little bit of a selection there. You've got more of an earthy going into that sort of caramel tone. Then you've got a beautiful beige, and then obviously there was a softer neutral as well, being South Pole. But have a look at those. A really good selection of neutral tones that are designed to pretty much work within any space. Okay, and so what else do we have here? Oh, Cherise is saying thank you. You're very welcome. Yes, that would be fantastic. You're saying that you still need to send through the photos of the laundry. We would love to see any projects that you do, and that's right. Yep, Cherise is agreeing. That's it. Trades is saying that Enjoy is the best. That's all we use at home. It's a fantastic product. I'm the same. That's all we use when we paint. I love the fact that we can paint and then, you know, literally that evening sleep in the space. There's no adverse reactions. It's got low VOC, so the volatile organic compounds are emitted into the air as paint drying, so very minimal. It's been endorsed by Sensitive Choice, so for anybody that suffers from asthma or allergies, it's safe to use it. So that concludes our evening this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been fantastic to help you with all your colour queries and offer some product advice. Please join us again in a couple of weeks for another session. But in the meantime, if you do have any colour queries, feel free to pop them into our feed and I'll certainly do my best to answer them for you. But until then, everybody, stay safe. Thanks very much for joining us. And as we always say, happy painting. Good night. Bye.